I was always this guy who desperately needed the attention, and this kind of 14-year-old that didn't fit in. I was always trying to do whatever I could to get people to like me and fit in and be the life of the party. And then I found drugs and alcohol, and now I could just relax.
Now, why? Where you went? You're a local guy. You're an LA guy, right?
Yeah, Pasadena area.
Like, how does a guy like you not fit in? What was it about you at 14 and 15 years old? Because you're super handsome. Were you not athletic at the time? Because
I was a big jock.
Yeah. So if you're a jock and handsome, is it just something inside of you where you think you don't fit in?
Yeah, and like I think. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, maybe it was just the way I interpreted it, and I probably was a lot better off than a lot of kids because like I knew kids that definitely got really bullied or had
waiting tables at Deacon Jones's house,
or had deformities or whatever it was that really made them stick out.
Deformities.
Yeah,
they go on to long NFL careers, kicking field goals.
Yeah, they have birds on the inside of the thighs. They're outward racist. But. So maybe it was just the way I interpreted how I felt it.
Because that's how I feel about like when teenagers go, you just don't get it, you don't understand me, and I want to, like, I would tweet it, but who gives a shit? And the audience that would hear it isn't who I want to direct it to. I want to say to every teenager and every grown up, no one knows a fucking thing about you. You sitting in front of me, Mike, I don't understand you.
Right.
And we're friends, good friends.
Right.
Matt, I don't understand. Mutt Lang, I don't understand you. Like, no one fucking understands anybody. So to roll through a high school, teenagers have this bizarre thing where they're like, fuck, nobody gets me. Well, yeah, like, you walk into my algebra class and then you leave. How am I supposed to fucking pick you apart and learn you?
I definitely think that, I suffer from, clinical depression.
You do now still?
And I did then. I didn't really realize it. And I also was kind of this, like, Letterman jacket guy. So I kind of had this idea of what I should be. And it was so difficult because I was a very introverted, very kind of private guy, but I felt the desire to be the guy who was banging hot chicks and at every party and socially.
You showed him now since.
No, because in turn, I went through this phase, at age 21 where I just had to I was so lost socially.
Yeah.
Like I had no ability. I was not a guy who got kicked out of a lot of clubs and has these amazing, I have a few, these amazing like drug stories because I was such a reclusive user. Towards the end, it was so dark.
Interesting.
It was this romantic idea of, being Dylan Thomas, drinking myself to death as I'm holding court at a bar, or Hemingway, or Jim Morrison, or anything like that. That's not the way it is. It was years and years of solitude where the only thing you really have, the only thing you find solace in is your drugs of choice.
And your Morrissey records.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, I'm living up to my Mexican genetics and I listen to Morrissey and Metallica.
The Smiths. I've been looking so long.
I don't understand what it is.
Pictures of you.
I don't understand what it is about really tough, like really badass Mexican guys are into like ultra maudlin, like
You're
really,
Mexican?
Yeah, half, right down the middle, Mexican Irish.
What can you say? What antidepressants you've been on?
None.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because when during the era where I was still an active user, I tried Effexor, some Prozac, stuff like that, and then it's just I just got addicted. And then even when I go through bouts of sobriety from narcotics, those drugs would always lead me back to it just,
antidepressants did.
Yeah, because the reward system's kicked in.
Yeah,
and you,
I
Dr.
talked
Drew,
over you. You said.
And that kind of that reward system in your brain is kicked in because I have something that I know is external that I can go to and it makes me feel different. And it's sure enough
That's super interesting because most antidepressants take like 2 months to even begin to work.
Right.
And it has like maybe like a placebo effect at first. Like when I go to the doctor, I feel better just sitting there.
Yeah.
But please don't get on them now. But you're saying like if you went to the doctor and got antidepressants, do you still suffer from depression now?
Yeah, but I try my best to deal with it in a kind of as healthy a way as I can. I exercise a lot. I see therapy twice a week, and
that's fantastic.
Mike. The AA meetings, all that kind of stuff. Like you said, that placebo effect, I definitely get that at meetings. When I go to, just by virtue of sitting there 20 minutes.
I get it. And
20 minutes in the meeting, I feel
too.
better. I feel better.
But I don't think that's a placebo because I get it at Mass.
Yeah.
I'll go to a Mass and like some reason the homily will be like exactly what I'm going through that week, and it always freaks me out. Like they read my file before I sat amongst 1,000 people at Mass, and I cruise through Sunday nights and Monday. I'm so happy about it. And then plus you always feel like you're like a real good, like I went to Mass, like you feel better than everybody else.
I left last night at like 6 o'clock. I went out to like my hometown out on the east side. because I usually go to Mass where you do out here in the West Side.
All are welcome.
I moved to Venice, but I went back to visit my family yesterday, so I went to a nighttime Mass at 5 o'clock last night, and I'm leaving. I was so like sanctimonious about it. You know, walking back to my car, that's like, yeah, I could be doing whatever I want. I went to Mass. You know?
Yeah.
Look at me.
I walked through Santa Monica, me and Father Tim, who's super young. He's like 32.
What a waste. Father, what a waste. Right?
Father, what a waste. He's young. We go to like Krav Maga together. I broke my leg running the Santa Monica steps, and he just kept going, not looking at chicks. He didn't even look back. And I'm like, rub your hand. You are new. Rub your hands over this, man. Do something. And he and I went to Wahoo's Fish Tacos on Wilshire by St. Monica's. If you think you're a celebrity, walk through town with your priest while he's wearing his collar. People are beeping like I'm walking with the edge. They're like, hey, Father Tim! We're in Wahoo's Fish Tacos. People are just sending Coronas over. He's like, no thanks. And I'm like, bro, don't not drink because I'm here. He goes, it's 11:30. Like, oh yeah. Like, I have no sense of time. Because when I was drinking, like, I don't give a shit what time it is. Send them over. And then I come home and I say to my wife, I go, I took Father Tim out to lunch. It was great. We had a ball. And he's like a rock star. Like, they are rock stars. And she goes, where'd you guys go? And I go, Wahoo's Fish Tacos. And she makes this funny face. And I go, what? And she goes, why? And I go, what do you mean? She goes, your priest who you've met a month ago, like, I'll impress him. Wahoo's Fish Tacos?
Well, you know, it's all about being humble. You don't need to.
But I didn't know that at the time. I'm like, bro, I need some fucking fish taco. Like, I get crazy fish taco cravings. And I go. And then I went to Father Tim. And I said to him, my wife said, why'd you guys go to Wahoo's Fish Tacos? And he goes, loaves and fishes, man. And I'm like, how could you possibly have had that answer ready? You know what I mean? Like, it's too straight. Like, and he's like such a surfer.
Yeah.
You know him. It's like, loaves and fishes, man.
It's true. I mean, but, you know, that's a bank of knowledge that most normal people don't have. Whether you respect the idea of religion or not, think about someone who studied the idea of the Bible and theology and just pretty much studied thinking. That's what, you know, you do to get to the point where you're a man of the cloth. This is not someone who doesn't have a good answer on the ready, no matter what.
Do you know what their degree is when you become a priest?
I don't.
A master's in divinity.
There it is.
You tell me a more wasted degree as far as hitting the road and picking up chicks at a bar like, oh, that's nice. Really? Literature at Cal Berkeley? Me? Oh, I have a master's in divinity. Yeah. You know God? I've mastered it.
From Oral Roberts.
When do you guys come on back to the Embassy Suites? So, is this going to kill us? So, I got someone cutting grass outside of the Fake Mustache Studios. So beer was your thing, and you said
not really. I feel
alcohol,
you. I feel you on beer though, where it's like there's such a different thing about being an alcoholic who beers your drink, because like you said, you can have a social feeling about it, where it's like you hit a barbecue and it's like we have a couple beers, get in the pool, couple more beers, go to the beach, walk down the beach, couple more beers, and it's like a prolonged kind of nice thing. Yeah, by the end of the night you're peeing yourself, but like whiskey and tequila, which were my things, it's so much more aggressive. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
it tastes horrible.
Yeah. And I almost liked it, and this sounds dumb, and this sounds so like, you know, alcoholic Hollywood type of thing to say, but I almost got to really like the feeling of the pain when it went, like the stronger the whiskey, I felt like the cowboy kind of desire where the pain felt good. You know what I'm saying? Where it was like,
well, let's set the record straight.
Yeah.
We're both alcoholics.
Yes.
And we both live on the west side near the ocean. So let's not ever be afraid of being Hollywood alcohol, as you put quote marks in the air. Like, and there is a big difference, don't you think? When you move to Venice, weren't you like, oh wow,
relaxing, man.
This is completely different than that fucking.
Well,
place.
I grew up, you know, 8 miles from like the downtown Hollywood, like, but at the same time, where I grew up, my neighborhood, there was no connection to show business. I knew one kid whose dad was in show business, and his dad was like an entertainment lawyer. There was no. I grew up in a very kind of removed area from show business. What I meant by a Hollywood idea, that sounds like something you'd hear in a script, as opposed to a real person saying, like I actually got to.
The nastier the whiskey, the more I
learned to love the pain. But I did. I almost like the way it would hurt, the way it would feel open up inside you. I got to like that as well as the feeling of being inebriated.
So you like the burn going down your esophagus.
Yeah.
Now, how does a 15-year-old kid go, you know what? I'm drinking whiskey before school.
Like I said, it kind of didn't get to that point until sophomore year, where I was like drinking for breakfast. And it's almost like, it was twofold. One, I finally hit that groove where I was like the cool guy I wanted to be. Instead of being cool because I had my shit together, I was cool because it's like all the people looked at me and like, I know they just came from the East Lot. They probably had 40s and they probably smoked cigarettes. And there was the real normal good people. They looked at you with that threatening edge, which is really cool when you're 16. It's super dumb when you're 32 because now when you see grown adults coming in the daylight and you're like, they just probably.
You always see them at CVS, like just buying all those giant bottles of vodka.
Yeah. And
they take out their CVS card so they can save $14.
Like, who am I to judge considering all the stupid shit I've done? But you're right. I mean, I get that look in my eyes when I'm at 7-Eleven and it's 10:30 in the morning and the guy's buying the 40. I'm always like, Jesus. But when you're 16, that's so cool because it's rebellious and it makes you
wish I did it.
And it made you feel like you were like someone cool, you know?
But how did it go from a kid trying like beer and like hanging out? I know you said it made you feel, and I get it completely. Suddenly you're the guy that you wish you could be. Yeah. It's like when you wear sunglasses and you talk a little less and you feel like a cool guy in detention. Exactly. But now Mike Catherwood is having, 4 shots before school. Now you're arriving to school, you're the shit.
Yeah.
You feel good. Yeah. You could talk to girls. You'll fucking fight anybody that comes within your radar. You're good to go. But like, how does it get to that point? Like, where did you get it? Like, that's a crazy leap.
That was the how cool it made me feel, coupled with the fact that I have a tremendous genetic predisposition for alcoholism. I mean, bad. I'm Irish Mexican, right down the middle. Both grandfathers on both sides, very open about how they would drink for breakfast for 60 years. I mean, they made me in a lab to be an alcoholic, and so that, once those two kind of things combined, it was over with. It was.
When was the first? So we got like alcoholism. It's not a unique tale. It's very common, and that's what you learn if you go to a meeting or when you meet addicts. And that's the thing that bothers me about addicts is they all think they're so unique,
right?
And they're so fucking common,
right?
Like you're just, and a lot of people listening have addicts relatives and addict best friends, and you're just circling the fucking drain with these people, and they're just like like guys like me and Mike. You see an addict and you go, "No, I'm good, bro."
Right, and when they're active in their use, they really do believe like this. Their story's unique, and their story. But you're exactly right. The point of the program is to get into a meeting with 40 other people who are exactly like you. Their story is almost uncanny how it's exactly like you.
And the real good addicts are the ones that reject it for that very reason.
Right.
Like, I don't want to get in a room. These people are idiots. They think it's fucking therapy session. And you're like, yeah, stupid. That's what it is. How did you graduate to coke from booze at 15 years old?
Once I tried stimulants, period, coke and meth. Like, that meth was really...
What was the first thing that touched your mouth or nose or whatever it was where you went, whoa? What was the first one?
Probably weed. Like not the first time I smoked weed, but the first time I got high on weed. I was probably about 15, 16. Yeah. Summer before sophomore year.
That's amazing to me.
Because I started smoking it, and like the first time I took massive bong loads, we went on like a camping trip with my buddies that were pro stoners by that age.
And your parents are like, it'll be good for him. We'll go out to the woods, and he'll be around good influences.
No,
he'll be with nature.
My parents are probably like, look, it's his buddies that he plays football and baseball with. He sees them every single day. I mean, they're probably doing horrible stuff, but oh well. At least they're not. At least they're not selling drugs.
Right.
They probably knew we were going to get high, get drunk, and kill animals. I mean, like, we were big, stupid mid-90s heshers that were doing, lifting weights and doing drugs.
Not to be confused with Hessians, who is an army for hire that are German in nature.
No, we were definitely not an army for hire. We were dumb, stoned-out heshers.
So you tried grass, and it altered how you felt.
Dude, the first couple times I did it, it didn't work. And then the one time it did, I was at my buddy Steve Peck's house, and I stared at the ceiling and watched Logan's Run for like 4.5 hours with my body going boom, boom. And I said, okay, now this is awesome. I can couple this with alcohol. My life's complete.
Has Dr. Drew ever explained why it doesn't work the first 2-3 times you try it? 'Cause
no.
I think that's kind of universal. It's right?
I wonder if it's literally your inability to truly inhale it. Because the first couple of times you almost puked.
Bro, no, I fucking inhaled it, and you did too.
I think from the stoner expert over here, I think it might be the actual receptors in your brain, the cannabinoid receptors. If they've never had it before, your body doesn't know how to ingest it. So it takes, like anything, it takes a few times for your body to actually digest the THC, as it were.
You like how he goes, I think, but then he says it like he's an expert on fucking Dr. Oz.
It makes sense. Let's say you grew up in a hippie family, you were a vegan till you were 20, and then you go away to college. Like the first 2 or 3 times you eat meat, you're puking that up. You know, so like maybe it takes a couple times for your body to develop the like enzymes to digest it.
It's fascinating to me, like